Continuing on in my first look series from Battalion 1944, which you can check out here, today we're going to take a brief look at a brand new survival game called The Culling. Now, before you get all cynical and start the "not another survival game" train, let me clarify. This game is purely being developed as a Battle Royale game. So it's not some full-blown survival with Battle Royale just tacked onto the end of it. No, this game is purely Battle Royale, and that's why this is so appealing to me. The game takes on a style of like a TV game show where a voiceover announcer fills in the audience as to what's going on. The Culling is going into Steam Early Access as of March 8th, and is the latest game to be developed by the studio called Xavian. In short, 16 players battle it out to be the last one standing in a 20-minute time limit. Exactly what you'd expect from a Battle Royale game. But just from one look at the art style, it seems to have taken rather a more arcade approach than things we've seen before. I can see hints of Rust, Dead Island, H1Z1, Dead Rising, and loads of other survival games all thrown in there. It looks like a massive amalgamation of all the games people currently turn to for their survival fix. Only this time its main focus is Battle Royale. The developers have offered a tentative release date of 2017 and expect the game to be in early access for roughly a year to get community feedback on new features that they'll be developing. According to them, the game functions very well in its current state, but it needs bolstering with new content like maps, character models, game modes, weapons, and other things. I don't know if we can really take their word to say the game functions totally fine right now, but it is going into early access, and when games go into early access, you do need to be aware that perhaps the reason they're in there is because they're not finished yet. As with all Battle Royale games, your aim is to be the last person standing, and in The Culling, that is absolutely no different. You do have the option to be part of a team of two though, and should you be the last two standing, then that team wins. A deadly poison cloud forces you closer and closer to the centre of the map as the game progresses, so you need to make sure you strike that balance of trying to stay out of trouble and gear up, but not be too bold and start killing people too early and get yourself caught out. In terms of current weaponry in the game, the developers are making a focus towards melee combat, with 24 different weapons of that variety in the game, including blades, axes, spears, and bludgeons. Weapons are grouped into different tiers, offering different levels of damage to your opponent. So for example, a low-level stone knife is not going to do anywhere near the damage that a katana is going to do. You can use jabs, shoves, blocks, and swings built into the combat system, which according to the developers is simple to learn, but requires some practice to master. Less reliance on projectile weaponry like guns is a nice change from Battle Royale games that we've seen in the past, but The Culling does offer some of those too. Blowguns, bows, and firearms will make an appearance, with the kicker being that they may not be as helpful as you might think. Ammunition is something that you're going to have to find as well, and a gun with no bullets is about as useful as an umbrella in a hurricane. As a side note though, all melee weapons can be thrown, which will add the potential for slightly longer range combat within the game, which is not something you can really do with melee weapons normally. But no snipers. Wah. You'll be able to craft and set traps to damage and outwit enemy players, such as explosives and tripwires. You will be aware of an enemy's presence, however, as footsteps have been built heavily into the audio engine, which is a nice touch. You've got collectible items that will aid your attempt to be the last man standing, things like a running speed stimulant, bandages to heal wounds, and smoke bombs to cloud out an area and potentially confuse an opponent. You'll have access to a perk system before you start a match as well, which you can customise depending on how you might want to approach it. The perks require no unlocking, they're all available to all players when you load into a match, which means no one is going to be at a disadvantage because everybody has the same choice. The perks are split into 3 different types: crafting, combat, and general utility. You'll also be able to craft certain items during the round if you've got enough time to spare. You can craft weapons, traps, and other items that might be of use, like body armor. Airdrops are a thing as well, again following that tried and tested Battle Royale understory. These will cost in-game currency to call in, which goes by the name of Flexible Universal Nano Compound, or FUNC for short. And to gain this FUNC, you need to win combat scenarios against enemies or explore the map to find it. The airdrops can contain random items such as weapons, traps, and other helpful things, but just like in any other Battle Royale game, other people are going to know you've called one in. It's rather a large object in the sky, which makes you a big target. You can shoot the airdrop out the sky as well, which is a good trick to steal someone else's. Right now, we haven't seen much more footage other than what I'm showing you on the screen, and this is the release trailer. We've seen no official gameplay. What you can see in the background just appears to be in-engine gameplay, which leaves me a little bit apprehensive. As I mentioned, the game is going into Steam's Early Access program as of March 8th, and I've linked the Steam page down below in the description. For me though, the game does sound really cool, as it strips out that normal survival simulation that's been hogging the Battle Royale market for the last few years now, and it just gives us Battle Royale. 20 minutes, 16 players, one winner. That's all you really want from a Battle Royale game. You don't want the map to be too big, you don't want too many players, you don't want the time limit to be too long. This sounds exactly what people should get from a Battle Royale game. But right now, it does seem a little bit too good to be true, but that may be the reason why it's going into early access. The developers have said they want some big community help with extra maps and extra weapons and all these suggestions that they really want. That's why it's going into early access. There's not much in the game right now. Apparently it functions correctly. There's just not much going on other than what you can see in the trailer. So the first part of the early access is probably going to be bolstering the game with content. And as you add more content, you are going to come across a few bugs here and there. And hopefully that early access stage will help to root those out. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. As mentioned, I've left a link to the Steam page for the culling down in the description, and I'll be doing some videos on this when the game drops. So let me know in the comments if you're looking forward to that, and drop me a like too. That'd be great. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.